while we still have daylight left, we're going to test and install a 42-inch Hugger ceiling fan. Here's the tag right here. I don't know what brand this is or anything. This is a model number HC42, which is a very common model number I've seen on plenty of different fans over the years. It's a 60 watts and 0.5 amps. And it was made in April of 1991. So I got this thing from Face, rip you off, steal your data, provide zero customer service, lying, dishonest, stupid, ban you for no reason, lying, dishonest, stupid garbage book platform. There was a listing for 3 fans, and I got all of them for $60. It was $20 each fan, so I decided to buy it. I just noticed that this light wire doesn't have any copper exposed to it. Or I guess you should say aluminum, because the wire is stinking silver. We got to get that fixed. The original owners did just tap that wire to the black wire. So, alright, all these wires look like they're ready to get connected, so that's good. And let's check this one, wire on the other side. Yep, that's ready to be connected as well. So good. And I don't know how well this is going to work. It seems like it's a cheap generic Hugger from the early 90s. And this fan is so cheap it doesn't even have cane blades. Although cane by no means is a indicator of expensive either, but both the sides don't have cane on it, which kind of stinks. I wish they would have cane or stencil on it. That would make the fan look better. Although this does look landslides better than the ugly silver color fans you find today. So, enough with that talk. Let's go ahead and hang this fan. Start off with the bracket. We should probably mount it on this side, because the hole that we're going to be hanging this will be on the far end, and that's going to be a little bit easier to work with, as opposed to just fighting with all the stuff that I have here. I really need to clean this place up. I just haven't had time. I've been busy with work, and I've just been putting off doing it. And I need to stop doing that, because that's not the right thing to do. So we'll put the mounting bracket up first. Alright. That's good. Let's just make sure this isn't gonna fall. That's good. Alright. I'll get the motor out. These wires are very long. I'm concerned that this is gonna pinch. This is the better, in my opinion, mounting system. I know that some people like the nuts and bolts better. I like the screws better because it's quicker to install. And we're going to start by connecting the ground. Wow, that would require going almost all the way up. Well, we'll connect the ground as we hang the fan. All seriousness, I don't really care much about the connection of the ground. Just as long as it's connected to the wire, we're okay. So I'm going to twist these wires together. And then I'm going to fish it up through that hole. Now I'm going to undo those wires, and then we're going to connect the wires to the ceiling. Yes, I hear all you people in the comments box saying, but that's going to create a dead short. Well, if you connect all these wires together on all these wires as well, yep, you're going to get a dead short. But as I said earlier, I am going to undo these connections so I have 3 wires again. So then the short doesn't happen. Let the commentary rip. And so we're going to connect the black wire, which is our fan motor, to this. Wow, this wire is way too long. That's some funny goof wiring that they were connecting this thing to. You fold it about half and it's the right size. Yeah, all these here are too long. We can't have any exposed copper. Or should I say metal, because these wires here are just cheap aluminum wires. That does go to show that even in 91, they were definitely using cheap aluminum wire, which would definitely imply that this was not a very expensive fan either. Although it ultimately works, and this is not a high power application, so you really don't need the copper in the first place. Okay, this one is good. And this one's good. Red to the blue, which is our light. That one's good. And I'll connect the ground just from here. All seriousness, I don't have much concern about the ground touching the housing if we ever have to do it. I'm still going to push it out of the way, but I'm just saying, like, if it were to rub against the housing, it wouldn't spark. Because that's only for ground. I would definitely be way more careful on a regular wire. But for purposes of a grounding wire, that will be okay if we ever had to let it happen. Alright. Now I need to find my hardware bag of screws. Okay. Are they all the same size? Okay. Yeah, they are all the same. I think they are, in fact, all the same size. These are some very tiny screws that this comes with. Look at that. That's not big at all. I really love this mounting system. This mounting system is very easy to work with. And no, I'm not even bothering to put the lock washers on this because this fan's going to be installed for like a day. It's not worth messing around with those lock washers and that frustration that arises. Looks like somebody did a paint job or tried to paint the ceiling here. I'll try to put the camera close to this. Yeah, there's paint on the mounting bracket. So it does look like somebody, for once, did the job correctly and took the fan down before painting the ceiling. That's something you don't see very often. Most people would just be like, don't care when they paint the ceiling. And that's not correct. You really got to care about the fan. Alright. Now we'll get the housing put on here. Oh, I was wrong about that observation, unfortunately. There's stinking paint on the motor housing. Although, it ultimately is still very shiny. And actually, this paint's coming off pretty easily. With some time that I have, I'll try to get that paint off. But most certainly will not be right now because I have other things to do today that I want to get done. See how bad the bearings are. Actually, the bearings are not terribly loud. So maybe this will be a pretty decently quiet fan. This motor housing is kind of long on this. Although it's certainly not as long as the Westinghouse Casanovas, the modern ones, that is. Speaking of these modern Casanovas from Westinghouse, I likely will not get one because I think they just look very hideous. Like, they look fake in the picture because of how long the motor housing is, but it is actually real, which is unfortunate. Alright, let's see. Do we have enough screws to put on blades? Yes, we do. Good. And let's see what the capacitor size is on this. 3.75 microfarads. That's not very big at all. This was certainly one of the more chintzy fans at the time. But this is largely much better quality than the cheap products of today. This probably performs even better than a Littleton. I'm not sure what the price point of this fan was. I would most certainly not be surprised if it was sold less than or at $50. Bearings are actually not loud on this. I've had a couple of these cheap hugger fans and they arrive with very crummy bearings, but this is not bad at all. Alright. Then the last blade. It's actually installed very quick. Less than 15 minutes, so... Well, we also have to put the light kit and all that kind of stuff on there too, but... This part here usually does take a pretty long time, but... Yeah, we actually got it down pretty quick. Alright. Although something we can do at this point is take a tape measure wherever the heck it went and measure the circle of no air. we're gonna go with an 8-inch. Yeah, we're gonna go with an 8-inch circle. Let's do a quick test here just to make sure nothing blows up. I don't like that one wire hanging out there. We'll put it there. Let's see if the capacitor needs to get replaced. Wow, this has a unique startup sound. It's making some noise. Well, with that little bit of noise, the capacitor might be bad on this. But we're not replacing the capacitor today because I don't have a 4 microfarads. Okay. Now let's install the light. Turn the power off first, though. Okay. I want to see how old this light is. There's no date code on it anywhere. Alright, let's Alright, let's put this light kit in. There's a lot of wires that go into this box. Or switch housing, I should say. Wow. Well, that wasn't so bad. Actually went in relatively easily. This light kit here doesn't really match the fan. This light kit here is more of a brown color, or a darker color, I should say, than the rest of this fan is. So if I were to actually use it, I might put a different light kit in it because that color brass doesn't look right with this fan. As far as color goes, average person probably wouldn't notice it, but I notice it because I'm a collector. All right. Okay, we have a multimeter here. I'm gonna test continuity in this just to make sure that nothing's touching the ground. Because if something's touching the ground, then we know that we damaged some of the insulation of the wires. Okay. All right. I just realized something. And that is, I forgot that red wire's not active. Well, we're gonna make it active because I know how to do this. Just gotta get all these wires here. All right, we gotta get incandescent light bulb, or else this will not show on the continuity meter. It's a DEL. You know what? Since we're close to the fan, we'll do it this way. Why is it not working? That's weird. All right. We'll take the kilowatt meter off. And I don't like testing this with CFLs. I don't have any incandescent bulbs laying around, so I'll just get a stupid DEL to check it with. Wow, the light does in fact work. That means that the multimeter here was having a bit of a problem. Alright, well, anyway, we'll install the shades now. Which, these shades here are not run-of-the-mill shades. These are actually pretty fancy shades. There's some decorations on this that make it very unique. I wonder if that Aspen Creative brand does actually make these exact shades. I know that they make some shades that I think look great and that are very 80s looking. I don't know if they make these shades. I hope they do. Because while I don't want these shades to break, if these are still in production, it wouldn't be a total catastrophe. Alright, that shade is on there good and tight. Let's see how these CFLs look on this. This actually does not look horrible. These shades are big enough to where I think those CFLs will look okay. Which I'm glad, because I like CFLs. They have a high amount of nostalgia to them, and I just like them. Wow. I don't even know if these shades are original to the light kit. I'm having a feeling they might not be original. These shades definitely look very nice though. Okay. Can I get these down any tighter? I usually like to winch these down a hair past hand tight. I know there's people that'll say don't do it, but I've never broken one of these before, so can't be that bad to do. Wow. Can't even get that screw with the screwdriver. These shades are so big. I actually do think they look very nice on this light kit. Yeah, these shades I don't think are original. They're not really flushing that well with this light. Alright, I think that shade is okay. I always have a fear of these things falling. Alright. Now let's plug this thing up and see how it works. Light here works. Here's the fan. Put that light on and that noise went away. Isn't that something? Has a little bit of a wobble to it, but it's not bad. Okay, so we subtract 8 inches from the area, so our number is going to be 8.8. Let's test the manometer to see what kind of wind speed we're getting. We'll go with about we'll go with 492. So 8.8 times 492, 4,330 CFM, rounding to the nearest tenth. So this is really a pretty good fan. Although we gotta, rating's meant to be taken with a grain of salt though, because when you have this on the ceiling, it's probably going to be even less. So we'll say on this testing area, we're going to call 4,330 CFM. And our power draw is 55 watts with 0.44 amps. So it's drawing slightly less power than what the rating was telling you it's supposed to be. Here's medium. Makes a little dinging noise, but I think once we give these pull chains a little extra length, I'll solve that problem. And the wobble on this, pretty minimalistic. I would take it like that. When it comes to ceiling fans and wobble, you really gotta ask yourself, is it worth doing this? This is one of the situations where I don't think is worth all that extra work. And it's simply because this fan is 35 years old as of the recording of this video, and some of these parts are getting tired, like the irons and all that, so I think this is really just best left alone. I mean, if it's really bad, then you mess with it, but if it's tolerable, then it's just best left alone. So I think it's down to medium speed, so we'll get a wind speed for that. Go with about we'll go with 393. So 393 times 8.8 is 3,458 CFM. It's drawing 39 watts and 0.32 amps. Now low. This thing really makes some pretty good startup sounds. Like, it makes a slow down sound when it transitions from medium to low. I think that's pretty interesting. Yeah, on low speed, this is very quiet. You hardly ever even hear this thing. You just barely feel the air movement on this. Let's do a CFM test on here. Go with about go with 216, which is pretty high for low. 8.8 times 216, 1,901 CFM. So this is really quite a high performance fan for a Hugger. Of course, you got to realize this is testing on a ceiling that normally wouldn't be tested on, so that is really just best taken with a grain of salt, because it likely will not perform this well on a normal ceiling. If it did, then this is a phenomenal fan. Although this definitely has its cheap elements. I can't imagine the price on this was just too terrible, because this thing really looks very nice. This thing is drawing about 28 watts and 0.21 amps. So power factor is not very good, not very bad either. I think this is a example of an economy product built correctly, because this thing moves pretty good air. This thing is pretty well made. This was built down to a price, but the parts that were built down to a price were done so within reason. This is something that a homeowner can buy and afford it. And I really think this meets the criteria of an awesome product. This is 35 years old, and everything on here is still good. The capacitor's good, the switches are not broken, and yeah, I think this is a pretty good fan. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thank you guys for watching. Bye.